Did the thought ever seem to make sense or lapse anybody's mind? The whole concept and the fact that we don't really understand our universe uh, nearly as much as some think we might. It seems like we're always coming up with things that um, prove theories wrong, and we're always just coming up with new stuff that proves the old shit wrong. Um, so I guess it would make uh, no less sense than anyone else's theory, because this is something I had always thought um, f- before I really heard as soon as I was aware when I was a kid of the passing of time, and that it always moves forward, that people get older, that the day that the sun goes this way, that the time moves in a steady uh, race for everybody. But I began to notice that it looks like people age at different speeds. Um, for instance, I had a friend. Um, I had a friend who like started losing his hair. Going bald. I guess it's something that typically happens to like a lot of men, but specifically when he was age 18. Um, and it just and I mean looks like some people guessed he was 35 that would because he was one of my roommates that would move in, and um, by the universal age that everybody is the same age, he was like 1 year older than I was. Um, but it doesn't that doesn't show in the look of. And then I had another friend who he always looked like he even looked like a little boy, still at the age of 18. Um, about 9 inches shorter than everyone else. He just had this really, really young look on his face. And examples like that just seem to make me think that time passes people by at different speeds, and people actually age at different speeds. Um, and mine is relatively close to everyone else's. I think I age uh, slightly slower than than what I see on average, but I'm just over 3 decades old. So, uh, anyways, well, I haven't even gotten to the point yet. What the big thing that I'm getting at here is the thought had crossed my mind, especially since, or once, the notion that the universe is expanding, and the Big Bang. Of course, everybody's heard that theory. That's that the universe is expanding, and it might get to a point where it slows down and stops, and then starts contracting again, much like throwing a ball up in the air. When the ball is moving, stops, comes back down. Um, Same thing, and as soon as that it made sense to me that that could be a possibility. Um, and right when it gets to the center again, it explodes again. Everything it starts over. But it seems like during the process when everything's coming back on itself, that suddenly that would be the most interesting time, and probably the coolest time in that whole 15 billion years or however long that takes. Um, there was only one instant when everything comes to a stop and time starts going backwards. The sun stops in the sky, starts moving backwards the other way. You start getting younger. Um, the day starts, everything starts going backwards. The planes in the sky fly backwards. You you go back, and then the question would be, um, would time actually be going backwards in every sense? Like you'd have to be walking backwards, um, undoing, like sitting down and uneating food, or would it be it's in a it's in more of a figurative sense where the day starts going backward, you start getting younger. Um, I guess your thinking would go backwards. Your mind would start thinking backwards, and you start talking backwards. Um, but having to make the same decisions, having to unmake the same decisions you made to get where you are, would be questionable. That would be interesting, and I think I would love to be around. And if, let's just say that if that's the actual case, if that's what actually comes of the universe, it's no less probable than any of the other people's shit I heard. But it it sounds like it very well could be just one day, just everything can just start like freeze and start moving backwards. Um, and that would be the rarest and the coolest time to exist in. Um, it's the day when whenever it's obvious that everything has changed, uh, and I think in some people's minds they'd know exactly why that started happening. If that started happening, I'd know exactly why it was happening, or I'd have a very good idea. But um, this is not something that I ever really told that many people, and I'm just wondering how many others have thought this. I figured if I thought it, then it's probably already been processed through, like, the thought's probably telepathically been processed through everyone else's mind. It seems like whenever something comes to mind, even if I talk about it with nobody, like, people just talk about it like I'm a part of their mind too or something. It happens a lot, usually involving music for some reason. But yeah, that was pretty much the whole thought, is that I was trying to find out, I guess through comments, if that is something that just in and out of your mind when science gets brought up. It's like one of the first things in there. I guess it's like a typecast. It's a typecasting to um, the subject of science and the universe. That's what I typecast it to, is that thought.